It's all the way live. All the way live. It's all the way live. It's all the way live. That's a song probably before a lot of people's time. Yeah, I'm live on another Sunday. We're here. So I'm here. So I'm gonna wait for people to start tuning in. I'm trying to be consistent with this thing to let everyone know that I'm trying to do this every Sunday, 8 o'clock. Sunday, 8 o'clock. Sunday, 8 o'clock. So just wait for people to start chatting in. But it is another live Sunday. So before people come in now, I'm going to take a little poll. It's 8 o'clock on Sundays because it's 9 o'clock for some people on the East Coast, and it's 7 o'clock for people that may be around, Mountain Time, and then 6 o'clock for people in the California time. Is Sundays at this time a good time, or do I need to start doing it at another time? Should I start doing it on Sundays earlier? I need to know if, do I need to start doing this on an earlier time on Sundays? Or do I need to do this on a different day? Saturdays, maybe Friday, maybe Wednesday. And I know that no matter what day I pick to do these live streams, it's not going to be, it's not going to work for everyone because everyone has different schedules. But like I said, I'm here. Tuning in. If you're tuning in, drop a chat, say hello. I'm here to talk gear talk and music talk. So that's what I'm here for. I forgot what I was gonna talk about something specific today, but I forgot. I wish I wrote it down. It was a video that I saw about. I think one time I was watching one video and this guy, he talks crazy to his subscribers, and I don't think he's gonna be around for very long. I think he's gonna start losing subscribers because he just talks crazy to them. Like, you can't talk when people are on these live streams or they're asking you questions. They're genuinely asking you questions. Like, some people might want to know about the music business. You can't be condescending and talking crazy to people because they may not know what you know. That's what they're here. People are here to learn, or they're here to interact. But I think this YouTuber is not going to be around very long. I just don't. I saw 3 or 4 videos. I just don't like his. That's just not how you treat your subscribers. Everyone's human. We're all human. And we all deserve that respect. These people take their time out to watch your channel. You got to be respectful. That I'm just talking about this certain YouTuber that just talks crazy. I was gonna, but I'm not gonna. I was gonna make a video rant about it, but I'm not gonna do it. So I'm here to talk about gear and recording. So if you're here and if you got questions about gear and recording, or if you got input, chat it down in the chats. Because like I said, I don't really have any subject. I'm just trying to keep. I don't really have anything specific I want to talk about. Unless you ask me some questions, then I'll start elaborating my thoughts on it. So, but let's see. Oh, we got somebody. It says Ogula Pix. Am I saying it right? Ogula Pix. Ogula Pix. Now, if I butcher the name, I apologize. I'm not trying to mess it up. I'm just trying to pronounce it. Hello, Mark. Checking. Say Ogula Pix. Okay, yeah. Okay. Checking. You out here in SoCal, Southern California. Okay. Welcome. Welcome. Like I said, I'm trying to do these live streams. He said, "Oh, Oscar, it's Oscar." Okay. Maddie Two Hats here. Hey, y'all. Welcome, Maddie Two Hats. It's okay. All right. So I'll remember to call you Oscar. Okay. welcome to the live stream. I'm trying to do these every Sunday. Good show, thanks. I'm at a 2-pass from Australia. Oh, they're from down under. Okay. What time is it? Let me see. It is 8 o'clock Central Time here. What time is it here in Australia? I would imagine it has to be 8 o'clock in the morning or something like that. Maybe it has to be maybe 9, something like that. 11 a.m. in the morning. I figure it was in the morning. I figured, okay. When I was in the Army, I used to travel, and it was like when I used to be stationed in Korea, we were 11-hour difference. So we were always like 11 to 12 hours ahead of the United States. So that's when I was in Korea. But anyhow, welcome. Like I said, I'm here just to talk about gear, music talk, both in, I'm in the future. Yep. Because the way the earth rotates, rotates before the United States gets to, but I'm here to talk about gear, and if you got any questions or whatever you want to, whatever you want to chat or talk about, I'm here to talk about. One thing I want to talk about is recording, because I know that not everyone are proficient at recording themselves. Okay, we got tactical MIDI, MIDI. Welcome. Have you ever wondered, or maybe you already know, what separates what the big studios are doing compared to what they're doing in the home studios? There's only a couple of things, really. There's only a few things that separates that commercial studio and the home recording studio. Believe it or not, the space is part of the sound. But they got so many plugins now. Sunset Sound, Acoustic Audio, they got all these different plugins that you can put in to emulate the space, so you can get the same recording studio sound. But other than that, a lot of that is just the signal chain that they're, that's really pretty much it. So he's Matthew Hatz is asking, cool, how do you like the Lindell Audio outboard gear? I like it a lot. I'm gonna tell you what sold me on the Lindell Audio, because I have their 276s. I have the LA2A that they make by Lindell, and I also have the EQs, which is a Poltech style EQ by Lindell. And I'll put a video, if I remember to put it in the descriptions later on. But there was a guy that he compared an actual Universal Audio 1176, a Lindell Audio, a Clark Technic, and a Warm Audio. And I've already had the Clark Technics. The Clark Technics 76s are not bad compressors, but the Lindell Audio out of all of it sounded the best to me. You just can't beat those for the price for those. So that's all I can say about those. They some of these clone companies, Lindell Audio got the same. It's like, how are y'all making high quality sounding really good gear for the price? Because that, but I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining. He's okay. He's saying, okay, cool. Let me see. Shout out to Australia. Shout out to Australia. Another list. I've been looking at the 1176 clone. Let me tell you, out of all of them, when I watched that video, when I compared to, it was the closest to an actual UA out of all of them. I think, because there's Warm Audio, Stem Audio. There's there is quite a few 1176 clones, but the Lindell Audio to me is nailing it. So that's they're nailing it. So when I got the Lindell Audio, I bought one, and when I bought another one. And for I think those are $399 for the price. You can't beat those. You can't beat those Lindo Audio. If you want 1176, you want an actual hardware unit. I think you can't beat the. To me, if you had a Warm Audio, a Lindo Audio, and a few other ones, I would go with the Lindo Audio. That's just me. That's just, I'm not trying to be biased, but I think that's just me. So I was going back to what was separating, what separates those recording studios. And believe it or not, it's definitely not really so much the audio interface, because if you think about this, it's awesome. Good to know. There you go. Yeah, take a good look at those Lindo Audios. And they're affordable. They're really affordable. I haven't got a chance to use my Lindo Audio 2A, which is an LA2A replica yet. I already used my Clark Technics. That's probably the Clark Technic ones is probably for Clark Technic for an LA2A replica. That's probably Clark Technic's best product. They sold so many of them. They couldn't make them fast enough that they were backdoored on through Sweetwater. But that's Clark Technic's best product. A lot of people don't really like their 76 that well. There's 76 clone replica that well, but everyone likes the Clark Technic 2A. So, and what I did was I got the Black Lion T4B OptoCell upgrade. They sell it for $99 from Sweetwater. I upgraded mine because that's the heart of it. The original OptoCell, I threw it in here, looks like this. If you go to Clark Technic, it looks like this. And if you get the OptoCell, that Black Lion cell, because they mod those with even LA2As. They put the Black Lion 24B OptoCell upgrade in those. Yeah, it's just definitely improves those Clark Technics. But the Lindo Audio, I haven't got a chance to use it yet. But I was impressed the way those Clark Technics sounded on vocals and my bass. I did a video a while back when I was working on an artist with her Christmas album, and I got to do some editing. I was going to release it last year, but we didn't get a chance to fix some vocal parts. But on there, I did a video on it, and it's in her Christmas album, and I showed her, recorded her recordings and parts here in the studio, and then I let people hear a little bit of the final product. Well, the vocals is running through that Clark Technic on her vocals. On that Christmas track album, her vocals is running through that. So that goes to show you how those Clark Technics are actually pretty good units. But when I heard the Lindo Audio version, it's even better than the Clark Technic. That's why I got one. I'm going to get another one. I can't wait to run vocals through that. So I was talking about signal chain, what separates those commercial studios. So if you think about it, yes, naturally, a lot of those studios still have a large format console. You can actually, you can bypass a little bit without the console to get close to the sound. And so it's not the AD to DA converters that we're using, because the AD to DA converters today, I don't care if you bought the cheapest one, the Behringer or whatever the case may be. Even the Behringer ones are so much better than interfaces 10, 15, 20 years ago. All the interfaces are really good. The converters are good. Now so it's kind of like, well, if I bought a 2-channel M audio or an Audient, then why is the Burroughs or the Lynx Auroras are so much more expensive? It's simply because the multi-channel processing that they're doing for multi-tracking more than others. Most of us are just recording 1 or 2 things at a time, but they need a converter that can process that much input and output to go to the computer that can handle it. And that's really why there's so much more. So that's pretty much the only really big, determining factor. And you remember with these interfaces, their sampling rate and their processing power So that's why. Because like me, I have an Antelope Orion, but I also have some Mark of the Unicorn Motus. I got a couple of pairs down there. I got some downstairs. But Antelope. So I have some really nice converters. So let's see. Somebody. Let's see. Oh man. Oh man. 257. What about Apogee? Apogee is just another top of the line. It's just it's another high end converter. I mean, Apogee. There's Lynx. There's RME, Antelope, Burl. I mean, we're talking in the price range of the even the Apollo. The Apollos. I mean, anything that you're talking 1,500, 2,000, 2,500, whatever the case. I think my Antelope Orion bred, new was $3,295. So you talk almost $3,300, and that don't include the DB25 cables I had to get, where you're talking $70, $80 a cable for a set of 8 channels. So you're talking another $300-400 in cables, but that's another thing that we don't talk about enough is how much it costs for the cables. But that's a different video, maybe. But yeah, anything Apogee, anything like that. And I'm not saying you can't do well with like for example, a Behringer Euphoria. You actually can, or you can do well with $200 or $300. But a lot of times when you want to step your game up, I would definitely step your game up to a higher end converter. And I'm going to say this is, I'm definitely, even though my monitors, I got a pair of JBLs and a pair of the center ones. Those are Alesis monitors. Those are close. Those were close to to get that flat response, mid-range flat response, are close to the Yamaha NS10s, which I used to work on Yamaha NS10s. So many studios use the Yamaha NS10s, but I just never liked Yamaha NS10s. I'd never liked the way they sound. I'd rather mix on my JBLs. But the ends are my Behringer Truths. But the thing that I'm going to upgrade to is I'm looking at the Focals, or I'm just going to drop and think I'm going to go broke. But I'm really looking at those ATCs. Those are very expensive monitors, but I've heard ATCs and they're incredible monitors. But let me move on. Let me see. Somebody, let's see. Main chat said, I'm using the UA Vote 176. I've been happy with it. Put up some acoustic panels. Yes. Okay. I saw the Vote because I think, with the Universal Audio interface and that Vote, they're giving you some of the 1176 compression to go in when you converting it. So I've never used one, but I know Warren Hewitt, a producer like a pro, did some stuff on it with that, using that Universal Audio Vote. So I think it's that was kind of smart of UA. And the thing is, those Votes are affordable. They're affordable. You can get you get a single channel, a couple of channels with the 1176 compressor. I think he's been very, very happy with it. So, but remember Warren Hewitt is also he gets sponsor. He does a lot of sponsor. He gets a lot of products to sponsor, like Kali studio monitors and Lewitt microphones and things like that. So we got life insurance. Says, hey, UNC, how long did you serve in the military for? I did 24 years. I did 20, just around 21 years active, 3 years reserve. He said, well, you mean who? Who? Yeah, I did 20. Yeah, I did. My military career goes like this. I joined the Army in 89, and I got out and went to the reserves in 93. And from 93 until the end of 96, I was in the reserves. And then from 96, I went back on active duty. And I retired in 2013. So it was pretty interesting because you meet a lot of people. So but I got a chance to travel and go places. Of course, naturally in the Army, you're going to deploy. I did go to Iraq. 05, it was 05, 07, yeah, and I did go to Afghanistan in 08, and I, did Gulf War in 91, and I did a few other deployments. So, but I enjoyed it because I met a lot of people, especially a lot of other military guys that were musicians, and we got to interact. Plus, I also got to do what they call the Army. It's called the Army Show, the Army Show, which has had 5 entities. There's the concert series, there's the band series, and all that. I did this thing called the USA Express. I did that twice. So I had to go to DC and we practiced, then we go and do shows. So that was kind of fun. But yeah, that was my military career. Deployed quite a bit. I was a recruiter. I did some drill sergeant duty as well. I was an Army recruiter and got to jump out some planes and rappel for some helicopters and did 3 tours of Korea and things like that. But that's my military career. So, someone said, thank you for your, appreciate it. Cool. Life was legendary. Oscar says, hey, Mark, thank you for your, thank you. Appreciate it. Like I said, that's a long career these days. Yeah, because then everyone in that picture was military. So the drummer told me, he said, whatever you do, don't just give the military up because you need something to fall back on just in case your other plans don't work out. And I'm glad I listened to him. So I went to the reserves. And then when the music thing didn't work out, we was a record label, and I got a lot of my accolades. I keep my little binder here with all the, I keep all my little accolades here of all the write-ups and the whole, my career is in this book about my music career is in this binder. He was right. Thank God I stayed in reserve. So when it didn't work out, I went back on active duty. And thank God, because that retirement check and all my benefits is for the rest of my life. So thank God for that, because that wasn't for my benefit. That's what pays my mortgage and my lights and my water and my gas and I still have VA benefits and all this for the rest of my life. And being a veteran, that's what allowed me to buy my home with the VA loan. That's how, so thank God for the military. Let me move on to some, let me see. Taco says, what about those FR clarets? Are you talking about the Focusrite? The Focusrite? The Focusrite is, I'm just want to make sure you're talking about the Focusrite interfaces. Just give me some clarification on that, because I'm not understanding tactical committee on. You said focal what? What about those FR? I just want to make sure, And Life Insurance said, legend. I'm in depth. All the delay entry program, Air Force, plan on doing for you know what? In the delay entry program for the Air Force, good move. Go ahead and go into the Air Force and get your experience and get your benefits and stay in and do your 4 years and get your honorable discharge in case you don't want to re-enlist, and get your honorable discharge. And that way you get your VA benefits. You get, that way you can use your GI Bill, pay for your college in case you want to go to college or whatever. Because my GI Bill paid for my cybersecurity degree. And I look at all these people with all these student loans. I don't have any student loans because I had the GI Bill. So the Air Force is a great option. Yes, go without a doubt. Definitely do that. Oscar, I salute you. Like I said, I'll give you another salute back. Okay. Congrats. Well earned for sure. Yeah, definitely. The Focusrite Cigarette. Now the Claret, the Focusrite Claret. I'm not sure about that interface. I haven't got a chance to research. I know a lot of people like the Focusrite Scarlet. The real popular one is definitely the 2-channel Focusrite 2i2. I had one of those. The problem with the early edition Focusrite 2i2 was they would have problems with the preamps failing in them. I had the same thing. I had a 2-channel one. I had a Personas audio box as well. Then I moved over to the Focusrite 2i2. The preamp fell in it, so I gave that up and went to a different PreSonus audio interface. It failed. A lot of the PreSonus interfaces and even their just a lot of PreSonus interfaces altogether were just failing. So finally, I had to move into a higher end. So finally, I switched over to the Behringers interfaces. Like the first Behringer I got was this right here. This is the Behringer Firepower. This one still works great. This one has not failed me yet. Then so I said, well, this one's good. Let me try this one. This is this one right here. I got this one. And for some odd reason, this one it started failing. So I got another one of these. I have two of these. And this one still works. So this is like a backup for my mixing console. Because this mixing console is a USB interface as well. But it's been working great. But I knew it was time for me to step my game up. So I jumped up to the Antelope Orion. I've had the Antelope Orion for almost 4 or 5 years now. And I knew when I got that Antelope Orion, boom, game over. So, and then of course, I looked into the Motu because I was going to get the Mark of the Unicorn for the channel count, and I got the Mark of the Unicorn. So I got quite a few Motus. And there are people that have had, ups and downs with Motus, but I've never had a single issue with my Mark of the Unicorns. I got two of them right here, the 896 HDs. I got the Mark of the Unicorn 896 Mark III. I got the Mark of the Unicorn 24AO. But like I said, my Antelope Orion, that's all the inputs and outputs to the console. Yeah, the Antelope Orion, it was like one of the best decisions I ever made as far as an interface. Oh, man said, my grandson just joined the Air Force for 6 years. I was telling Life Insurance, great. It's I was going to go Air Force. I'm from Dayton, so we have Wright Patterson Air Force Base there. I wanted to join the Air Force, but the recruiter was not never around. I didn't want to join the Navy because I didn't want to be on a ship around. I just didn't, didn't want to be on a ship because I heard about the sleeping quarters. Didn't want to be in the Marine. So I chose the Army, and I knew the Army was the biggest branch, had the most opportunities. So I chose the Army, and that's where I went. And I ended up doing 24 years. 21 active, 3 years reserve. So let me see. Okay, tactical. So I'm currently using the M-Audio Air 192 14, but need more channels. I would say, because I haven't my first interface, believe it or not, is my M-Audio Omni channel in the rack here. It still works. It still works flawlessly for it to be a 20-year-old interface. It's not. The converters aren't like my Motus or my Antelope naturally, but I would have to plug it up and let y'all hear it. One day I'm gonna pull up on my computer and let y'all hear it. It's actually not bad. So, but I would say if you need more channels, look at something like depends on what your budget is, because these interfaces can get expensive. That's just whatever your budget is. I really am not really big on trying to get 3 or 4 converters and syncing them together, trying to work like and syncing them together. That's one of the reasons why I chose the Antelope, because you get 32 ins and 32 outs. And it's all in one unit. So you don't have to worry about syncing multiple units together. But some people don't mind syncing, like their Apollo. I've seen people sync the Apollos and they'll have 2 or 3 Apollos synced, or even the Avid 192s or whatever, and they'll sync 2 or 3 together. But I've always heard sometimes people can have word clock issues, so syncing issues. So it just depends. But I don't know. I just chose to go with the I just chose to go with the Antelope. It was the best decision for me. They got Gen 4s out now. So the Gen 3s used on the market. Some people don't want to go with used, but I would definitely, take a look at it. Just, you do your research as the seller, try to do some research on it. But, you can go with a Gen 3 or, something like that. And some people said they had horror stories with the software with Antelopes, but mine's loaded with absolutely zero issues. So I don't know why when I hear these horror stories about these gear, I always hear about people having all these issues, but I'm like, I don't know. I've never had those issues. So let me see. Current stats. I hated the Personas audio. That was noisy. Tried the Personas ISO station 24C way better. Now I just used an ADD converter. Not looking back. Like I said, I had the Personas audio box. And of course, when you bought the audio box, they gave you a free version of Studio One Artist. I just had issues with Personas interfaces. I had a Focus 2i2, then I bought the Personas 1818 VSL and other interfaces, and I just they were problematic to me. So I switched to the ones I got now, and I just not looking back. Because I left the Personas and actually went to the Behringer ones, and the Behringer ones were working flawlessly. The Personas were failing. So imagine that, Behringer and their interfaces, So he says, my father was World War II Army, and my father-in-law was World War II Marines. Let me see. My stepfather was Marine Corps. My father was Army, but my grandfather was in the Korean War. So his favorite show was MASH. And when I was young, I didn't know what MASH was. I knew it was about, some doctors, and they were supposed to be in some war environment. But then I realized they were supposed to be, MASH was about some doctors doing war on some Koreans. So that was his favorite show, my grandfather's favorite show. And so it turned out he was served in the Korean War. So that, I guess watching MASH remind him of his time serving in the Korean War. Korean War is from 1950 to 1953. But yeah, he was but my father, he was in the Army, but he never talked about it. He talked about Vietnam. Matter of fact, my stepfather he's in the Marine Corps. He never talked about the Vietnam War. So I don't know. Spawn says, "I'll salute. Welcome, Spawn. Salute. I guess anyone's salute. They say the Gen 3 is better than the Gen 4 on the. I say I don't know. I have the Gen 3. They say one thing I was watching about the Gen 4 is they're supposed to improve the matrix window. So for those that don't know, the matrix window, if you ever get an Antelope Orion and you open up the software, you're going to get this screen. It's called a matrix, but it's really a computerized patch bay. You're just routing the inputs to the outputs for the interface. But it also comes with an external MIDI, an external mixer, and that's where it also has the internal DSP processing for the external, all the external plugins that you can get from Antelope. And the Gen 3 gives you every possible routing that interface, because the Antelope has not only does audio inputs and outs, it also has SPDIF, it also has AES, and it has Dante and Maddie and all these different outputs on it. So in the Antelope, you just have to tell it. Like for me, I just tell it to go from the computer's USB to the audio. I tell it route it go from the USB, because it's going to be plugged up to the computer by the USB cable. On the outputs, I just tell it to go to the audio outs, all of the outputs. That way, it comes out of the outputs of the interface that's coming into the console. Just the easiest way. But you got to hide it and drag it from the inputs to the outputs. That's all it really is. It's just a patch bay. but it looks confusing. Well, Gen 4 is they eliminated some of those screens so it doesn't look so confusing. And you just literally have to tell it to open up those other routings on it. And they also did some other stuff with Gen 4, but I don't, like I said, as far as if the Gen 4 is better than, I don't know. I know they also added a function knob, the way the meters are on the front of the interface. They added that on Gen 4 that Gen 3 doesn't have. But I can control the software functions within the software on through my computer, so I'm not really worried about that. So, but overall, biggest thing is I just like the converters. When it's coming through the console, it sounds so good. So let me see. Live show. What was your first job when you enlisted? My first job, or what we call MOS, I was what they call an automatic test equipment operator, a 39 Bravo. They later changed it to 94 Kilo, Apache TAC helicopter systems repair. That was my first job. So when I went to basic at Fort Jackson. This is between May and July of 89, because basic training was only 8 weeks then. And then I went to advanced interval training, what we call AIT at Fort Gordon. I don't think it's called Fort Gordon no more. It's called Eisenhower or something. They ain't changed the name. I'm not big into the base name change. That doesn't really matter. They're trying to change the names, but that doesn't really matter. That has no pack. I'm not getting into politics or race relations and all that. To me, I don't care if Hood was a Confederate. It's always Fort Hood to me or Fort Bragg, but they didn't change the names and all that stuff. But that's where I went to AIT. It was 23 weeks long. Then I went to airborne school. Then I went to Korea. Korea was my first duty station. I was in Waigwam, Camp Carroll, which is south of when you near closer to what they call a city called Waigwam, which is about an hour from Daegu. So if you've been to Korea, it's about 50 minutes north of Daegu. So that was my first duty station. So Maddie 2 said, which ATC are you considering? I'm considering the ATC SCM 25s. Because those 45As are out of my price range. You're talking 14 grand. The 25s are close to 10 grand, but I've seen a pair for 8 grand, and that's still a lot of money for some studio monitors. The studio I was at it's Precision Recording Studios. It's on the north side of Nashville. Had some 25s in his studio, Precision Recording Studio, and when I was listening to him, the accuracy of all the frequencies from 14, 15K all the way down to 30 hertz. I was like, the presence of, you can hear details like little transits, even from someone playing congos. I can hear those I can hear quite a bit of it here, but those was so accurate. And I was like, yeah, I see now I see why studios spend that kind of money for monitoring. Because a lot of that can be critical decisions, that you might not hear in lower cost monitor. So that's what I'm considering. I'm thinking about breaking, I'm be broke for a little bit, but I really want to get those ATCs. Spawn said, is the bit rate is better on the Gen 4, but does that not really? If you think about 24-bit, 96 or 192K versus 16-bit, the 24-bit give you a little bit more headroom, but I mean, 130 dBs of headroom compared to 132 dBs. If you really, if you need that much headroom, I mean, why are you so loud? Because in the end, when people want to hear stuff louder, they're just going to turn the volume up on the listening source anyway. In other words, if I'm listening to something on a volume here, because this is an actual full rack stereo system, it can get extremely loud. I never turn my volume past 4 because it'll rumble. I mean, this thing is so loud. So that's what you make up. It's like when I see people when they're mixing, and they're mixing so hot. I'm like, and then look at their master, and their master's clipping. I'm like, you don't want your master bus clipping. You'll see the red. It's all in the red. No, You want your master base, you really don't want to be going too much over 0 dB, at Unity. Because the people that listen to your stuff is, if they're not loud enough, they turn it up in their ears with the volume control, their phone or whatever, or the computer monitor. That's where they're supposed to turn it up. So if something's not loud, if let's say you got your faders up and your master up and it's still not loud enough, that's why you turn the volume control for your studio monitors up to listen to a little louder. You don't turn your faders up. You're just going to distort. And anyhow, let me move on. Next question. Larry says, wow, Army BMT. Oh, see, we don't call it BT. Air Force called BMT, which stands for Basic Military Training. The Army, we just call it BT, Basic Training. Used only, used to only be 8 weeks. How it used to be from 8, they went to 9 weeks, late 90s. Then they start going 10 weeks, mid 2000s, 2005 to 2008. They went to 10 weeks. And this is all pre-COVID. So they would go, but it was only 8 weeks then. It was you would go 3 weeks of white, in the Army, the phases are, just like the red, white, and blue. So red phase is first 3 weeks. That's the break-in phase. That's where we call the shark attack. That's when the drill sergeants went at you and all the yelling, all in the face, and the scaring the crap out of you. That phase, that's red phase. That's the initial phase. That's 3 weeks. Then the second 3 weeks was white phase. That's when you go into basic rifle marksmanship, BRM phase. And then the last 2 weeks was blue phase, which was, but by the time you get the blue, you've acclimated to being in the Army train. You know how to march, you know how to salute, rank, you know how to do wall inspections, you know how to fall into formation. You learn all this stuff. You have what they call an IAT book, which is an initial entry training book. And you're reading everything about everything that's in the, for everything from customs and courtesies to rendering salute to guard duty. I regard everything with the limits of my post, quit my post only when properly relieved. Your general orders, stuff like that. You learn all this stuff in basic training. So by the time you graduate, it's time to graduate. And it's called a pass and review graduation on the field. Basic stuff, but you don't know the Army. You just know basic stuff. Then it's time to go do your job. And then when you learn your job, then you get to your duty station. That's when you really start learning the Army, is when you get to your first duty station and start doing your job. And that, I hope that made, so let me see. Like I said, luckily, I hope my first duty station is Korea, Osan or Kus. Osan is Osan Air Base. And I used to go there all the time because outside the base, they would have all these Korean shops where you can buy Nikes, Adidas, Fila's, you name it. And the Koreans, the males are called Adashi. Adashi means sir in Korean. And so you go up there, and that's what, being that we don't know Korean, it's called Hangul. That's the name of Korean language. It's called Hangul. Because you don't know Hangul. So you go, Adashi, how much for those? And because you give me $18. You $18. Come on, Odyssey. I only got $15. Okay. $15. You will drive high bargain. Okay. $15. So that that was so that was my when they would sell all these blankets and all these clocks. I mean, the shopping is off the chain in Korea. I did 3 tours. I wouldn't mind going back to Korea because the shopping is off the chain. But Osan Air Base that's where most of the Air Force people went, was Osan Air Base. Kusan is a smaller base. Osan is the bigger base. And in Korea, there's a lot to do. There's a lot to do, especially going up to Seoul. They closed the main base, Yonsan, but I didn't got to talk about the Army. I got to talk about the Army. But anyhow, moving on. But I hope if you go to Korea, I hope you go to Osan too, because I had a good time in Korea. I loved it. Sponsor, that's what I thought. That's why I'm going to go with the Antelope HD. Yeah. Like I said, when I'll say this on the Antelope, I'll say this when I went to Antelope, because I was going to use all these other interfaces. But when I went to the Antelope, it's like when you pin something. If I pin something hard left or hard right to get the stereo effect, you can literally hear the details of how it's panning. A lot of times I would play stuff just even from the internet, and I was playing it through the speakers, I was playing this song by Michael Jackson. Y'all probably heard that song. You probably heard that song. You want to be starting something, got to be starting something. I was paying attention to it, and a lot of the words that we think he was saying is there's so many things that was in there. I didn't know that he was saying words like he was saying too high to get over, too low to get under, stuck in the middle, life is thunder. I didn't know for years that's what he was saying. So I was listening to the speaker. He's saying the life is thunder. I didn't know that until I heard that's the Antelope brought that out. It was so much more details hearing that through the speakers. I was like, just listen to all kinds of listen to so many things and all these little details and music that I wasn't hearing. Even through the stereo, I wasn't hearing these little nuances that I could hear. So that's all I can say about it. That's why I said that's why I made a video about it. For you, anything, your studio monitors, your interface, and and everything else. If you're going to upgrade, get it some really good monitors and an interface. Should be your two number one priorities as far as upgrading. If you need to upgrade. Let me see. Apache System Repair MOS requires a 99 ASVAB. You must have a high. Yeah, well, I had my GT score was 110. But it also is not just a 99 GT score to go into that MOS. You need an EL score, which is your electronic score, because for the Army, there's 10 line scores on the ASVAB. And you got to have certain scores in 3 different areas to qualify for certain MOSs. Air Force is the same way. It's more than just because how it works for the, we're talking about the Army again. Basically, I have to meet Sunday night football game to watch. Okay, no problem. How it works for people that may be interested in how to work. Like I said, I used to be a recruiter. How it works is the ASVAB is broken into 2 parts. You have the QT portion, which means qualification, and then you have the line scores, which qualify for whatever job that you're maybe looking to do. The QT portion is broken down into 5 categories. There's category 5, which means you scored a 10 or below, which means you don't qualify. Category 4, which means usually goes from 30 to 10. Most of the services will not accept anyone as a category 4. That's the score's too low. 31 to 49 is category 3, Bravo. And then 50 to 65 is category 3, Alpha. So it's 2 parts. And then there is category 66 to 88 is category 2. And then 89 to 99 is category 1. So a lot of times if you go to MEPS and you get there and they give you your score and they'll say, well, what was your score? What was the QT score? And I'll say, well, I scored a 66. You only got the score for the qualification to enlist. That puts you in a category to list. Usually the Air Force, all branches take alphas, 50 and above. But 50, 49, and 31, it limits your job ability to what you can qualify to join. So 31 to 49, it just depends on that, because a lot of times if you have 50, 49 or less, you may not qualify for a lot of jobs. That's why they want you to get 50 or higher. And then all the line scores. That's why when you take the ASVAB, that's why there's so many different tests. There's mechanical, there's electronic questions, there's clerical questions. They have a speed test and all these different parts of the ASVAB to get you to find out where areas that you might be good at. If you're good at electronics or communications, whatever, that's going to put you in a category to get those jobs compared to other jobs, like being a truck driver or a fueler or a cook or supply. So it really depends on how well you do. That's why I used to tell my applicants all the time. When you go down to MEPS, do not take that test lightly, because that's the difference between you getting a job like an intelligence or medical compared to you might just be driving a truck. So that's the basis of it. And also your background and the physical also matters too when you go down, because we run your background. We're going to run police checks, court checks, fingerprint checks. They're going to run all your background. So you don't lie about your background, because
you also got to qualify for a clearance. And if you got something in your background, can't get you a clearance, you won't be able to get that job. So all that matters. Then of course there's always height and weight, and you got a high school diploma and all. Now I'm talking recruiting. So okay, so let me see. Life insurance. Yes, I'm half Korean. Haha. I have a blast there. Okay, do you speak Korean? I learned a little bit of Korean, not enough, and I did 3 tours. So the Current Stott says Gobo 3 panels are the best things for untreated room. It does not leave the recording sounding like it was recorded in a For those that don't know Gobos are these they're like baffling dividers. They usually put these in the live room. So let's say you have a bass player and he's got his rig here, and you have a horn player or a guitar player over here. And it depends on the cabinet. Sometimes you have to put those bass or guitar cabinets in other rooms, and then they put the headphones and they just mic the cabinet, let the guitar player, bass player here. But they'll put a gobo to separate that's, especially if you're in the same room with a drum set, because you're going to get bleed. And if you want to be careful with the bleed, because if you're picking up, you don't want the microphones and the guitar mic picking up the drum bleed in the guitar cabinet. So a lot of times what I would do if I had a guitar cabinet and I'm micing a guitar cabinet, I know there's a drum over there, I'm going to put a gate on there. So that way the mic is directly, so many inches in front of the guitar cabinet. Then that way I can mic it. Then I can, when the minute the guitar player stops playing, the gate initiates to cut the mic off. So that way it's only going to pick up the guitar cabinet. But gobos are good separators as well. But a lot of times it's also the way you isolate with acoustic panels. Some panels can flip. In a live room, they'll be flat against the wall, but you can also change the angles. You're trying to change the diffusion and reflection points in the room to isolate a lot of that drum bleed as well. But it takes a lot of practice to really good to mic and get sound isolation between the musicians, because it can be an issue if you're getting too much drums. That's why most of the time your vocals is in a separate isolated room all together to reduce any bleed at all, because you definitely don't want the drums or guitar bleeding over you, especially if you're using the condenser mics. Even if you got it in cardio pattern, it's still going to pick up the ambience in the room, and that bleed over. You don't want that getting in your mic, right? Because then a lot of times you can't really get that out. Trying to even edit that out. What's some more stuff that we got? Let's see some more questions. Let's see. Yes, sir. Okay. So live show. So if you speak Korean, if you get the chance to go to Korea, I don't know if you speak Korean, but that would be great. Like I said, I did 3 tours of Korea. I loved it. So live show, yeah, I'm going to MEPS this Wednesday. I'll do on the test. Are you going for the test or the physical? But if you're going for the test, yes, do your best, because that will determine that test determines what you qualify for. Yeah, the test, ASFAB. Okay. So you should be going in the afternoon. They usually do the test in the afternoon. And just do your best, because the Air Force has 2 things. They have guaranteed contracts. They also have open contracts. You got to be careful with open contract, because I don't know what you're interested in. But if you're in, I don't know if you're trying to get into flight, if you're trying to get, because they have, security forces, which is MPs for the Army or the Marine Corps. They call it S-Force, security forces. So I ain't doing no open. Now, like I said, open day, because you might go in there and next you're in culinary arts, and you was trying to go in there to work on jet engines for like F-18s. But you also, if you work on jet engines, you got to remember, if you're doing jet engines or whatever, you got to remember, you still need a clearance. So make sure you have a clean background. You can meet height and weight. So when you go do the physical, because the physical you're going to go back and do the physical, and they're going to, run your background. You still need your high school diploma and all this other stuff. So the reason why people, I used to have my little recruiter card. I used to be an Army recruiter. So, but anyhow, yes, sir. So, we'll do, let's see. Dre says, would you recommend an Antelope Audio for a PC user? Yes. Because this PC I'm talking to you on is a PC. This computer that I'm doing my live stream is a PC. And that's what my Earlobe is connected to, is my PC. So I buy trade, even though this is a Mac, by trade, everything that I do is on my PC. So highly recommend it. So what else do we got? I mean, some more questions. I've been talking more military than I've been talking, because originally I was talking about, initially was talking about what separates the recording studio recordings compared to when you're doing it at home. Like I said before, was part of that is a good signal chain. That's why I said, if anything, most of us is probably working in our DAWs. A lot of us are working using plugins and so forth. So a lot of, with that being said, we still have to record our vocals, you know, even through our interface. If you're just using the interface mic pre's, I would say this: I don't think there's nothing wrong with using the mic pre's in your interface, but to me, you know, you probably heard this. If you all watch a lot of YouTube channels where they always talk about this clean, you know, it has a lot of color to this preamp, you know, whatever case, versus this preamp is just very clean and so forth. I would say this: it's the best way I can describe interface preamps. Of course, Antelopes do not come with preamp. You know, you can always tell they're just a converter. Because the idea with those type of converters is you're going to use either a console preamps or you're going to use rack mount preamps. When you see this warm, I always know what I've always known, and I had quite a few interfaces with mic pre's in it. The thing that I've never liked about the mic pre's and just interfaces alone is they always tend to make the vocals sound thinner to me. Not saying that they're not usable, they just sound a little thinner. But whenever I run vocals through a high-end preamp, or just, you know, even something like right now, I'm using for this live stream, I'm using this little Art. It's a little, y'all probably seen it. It's just a little tube, you know, it's called the Tube Mic Pre Studio or MP Studio. It is a tube preamp. Vocals are so much warmer, even that when you're doing that in the mix. So I always recommend at least minimum run your vocals through even a preamp like this, then into your interface. It does warm your vocals up. And if you can do that for your bass or your guitar as well, it just sounds warmer in the mix. Let me see. My grandson joined the Air Force as a jet propulsion specialist. Okay, like I said, that awesome. You know, that job should lead him to be able to get a 6-figure job at a major airport when he gets out of the Air Force. So, but you know, the job market is also funny too. So, but that's a good job. He said, "Oh, thanks for sharing your limits." Like I said, if you got this channel's open. You know, like I said, I don't talk all. If you ask me if it's, you know, music, gear, military, photography, cars, I'm a mechanic. I work on engines, all that. Ask me. I'll tell you what I know. I won't answer questions like with stuff that I don't know. Like if you start asking me about how to do, you know, biometrical fuels for rockets, you out of my league. I don't know how all that works. But so Karen says, I find interface pre's are too flat and boring. No vibe. Like I said, he just reiterated when I said like I said, I tried the preamp and my Focusrite, 2i2, my Personas, my Behringers, all my preamps, and they just don't sound. They just don't. It's night and day. When I run vocals through and of course, not everyone has an Avalon or my my Universal Audio 610 or these Neve style preamps over here, whatever the case, even any of those external preamps, they sound, the vocals come to life, you know. And I think that's the reason why when you run your signal through a console, your sound starts to come to life. That's why I have consoles, you know. Like when I run, especially when I run stuff through my Allen and Heath here, it just comes, and now it's kind of like you wonder, now you kind of get it why when you go to these big commercial studios, why they have an SSL console in there, or a Neve, or an API, or Trident, and so forth. It's just the way stuff comes out is just. Let me see. I'm sure. How did you balance music and the military while you were in? Okay, I'll try to be quick with this. When I joined the Army, like I said, joined in '89. When you're in the military, you're not. The only time you're restricted is the basic training portion. And then when you go to advanced training, you get a little bit, they give you a little bit of leniency because you still got to go to class. But in the evening, they give you get some off time. So I would go to the rec center because they had a recreation center where they had, you know, you can go play instruments and all that. And I would do that. And then when I got to my first duty station, I just met people, I would meet other people in the military like myself, people in the Army that played instruments, and we would all come together. That's how I met, like I said, when I was in Korea, my first duty station. If you watch the video where I was talking about reminiscing over the old music, and I met this guy named Mark and Tony. Mark, and how I met Mark, his name was the same as mine. I'm a keyboard player, he's a guitar player. And he's like, yeah, he was in a different unit, but he played the guitar. And then Tony was also in a different unit. See, at that time, I was just a private. And I think Tony was a sergeant. But when you're musicians, the rank we don't care about the rank when we're all trying to make music. So we would get together. He said, come to my room. And we all would get in there and we just start playing and collaborating. So that's how I did it. And then when I got to Fort Hood, I met another guy, as a bass player. And because he came in there, I guess someone heard me playing some of my music. I was playing some music I did on my tapes in Korea. And this guy, I guess he told another person, and they heard, and he said, I heard you're a musician. I said, yeah, I'm a keyboard player. And we got together and we would go, and before you know it formed a band. And the next you know, we're playing on 6th Street in Austin. And we would practice every week, and then we play, you know, and that's how I balanced it. And to make a long story short, is when I left the Army, I happened to be playing with the same band. I was in the reserves. We went up to Waco, met this producer. His name was Grover. He wanted a band for his group, and then I heard the music, and I said, well, the music was kind of, so I said, let me go back and redo the music. You know, let me make it more commercial and all that. So I went back and took all the music, gave me, sequenced it on the keyboards, and he loved it. And that's how I got on his production team. And before you know it, ADT was born. A Different Taste was born. And well, they were already a group, but I'm talking about as far as getting on the radio and the music that was put out. So to make a long story short, that's how I balanced it, you know. So in the military, you're only at, you know, you do PT, which is 6:30, which is 6:30 in the morning, 6:30 to 7:30, you're doing your physical training. Then from 9 o'clock to about 5 o'clock in the evening, you're doing your job, whatever your job that you join. That's what you do. After 5 o'clock, you're off, and it's only Monday through Friday for the most part, and you're off most weekends unless you got duty. But you're off most weekends, so that's how you balance it, if that makes sense. I know it was kind of a long answer, but that's the best way I can describe it. Kevin says, what's the best way to buy gear on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist if the person is too far to meet and they don't want to do PayPal? I don't really buy my gear through Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist. I've always bought my gear through like eBay, Reverb, Musicians Friends, Vintage King, like especially, you know, because eBay guarantees something, you know, as far as let's say you bought something and you don't get your gear, eBay will still, they guarantee that they will refund your money, but they lock the other person's account if something like that happens. But it's a risk with all of them, because whether it's eBay or Reverb or you go Craigslist or whatever, you don't, I did buy something on eBay, like I did buy like my Ensoniq TS10, not my TS10, my TS12. They listed on eBay, but they happen to be only 45 minutes away. So I went to meet them in person. And it's message, in other words. So I bought it through eBay, so that way, so that he didn't get in trouble through his eBay account. Bought it, and then instead of him shipping it, we met. And of course, I checked out his reputation, made sure he didn't have a whole bunch of negative, marks against his account, whatever. He had a 100% positive rating on his, whatever. So we went, met, picked up. He had brought the board, brought all the discs. Picked it up, brought it back to the house. And so you can do that too. If they're local, like my Avalon, that was another thing. I saw a listing on eBay, happened to be in Nashville. So we met at the Guitar Center in Nashville. So somebody watch it, I went to the Guitar Center. There's the big Guitar Center in Nashville. I went to the Guitar Center in Nashville. He had the Avalon preamp there. Because he had the Avalon there, of course I had the cash, because I wasn't sure I had the cash if he didn't have the the product. And he had it was legit. It was an Avalon 7. It's still sitting right there on the rack. That's how I got it. So when he got it, like that, checked it out, gave him the money, and that's how I did it too. So that's how I would do that. So let me see. I'm trying to be like, I don't know if you want to be like me. So my whole life isn't always roses. So I got some skeletons. So let me see. Kern says my first pre was an ISA 1 into a DBX 160A. They got me 70% finished. The interface pre had a harsh top end, made it hard to mix. Had to use a lot of de-esser to that. That's you brought up a good point to cheap gear versus expensive gear. That's usually one of the indicators of a lower price gear. Is a lot of times it's the way it's EQ'd. Like usually cheap mics sound thin and brittle and bright, and they are really harder versus a better quality mic, because it has better electronics and it gives it more of a warmth. A really good FET mic or tube mic. But yeah, the ISA 1. What I like about the ISA 1, if for those that are not familiar, the Focusrite console story. Rupert Neve when he left his own company, and he went to go work with a few other companies, Focusrite, AMEC, and so forth. He designed the ISA 110 preamp. And Rupert Neve being Rupert Neve, of course, Rupert Neve is probably the Rolls-Royce guy, electronic guru that basically built the high-end quality sound for recording. Is the Neve. That's why the Neve is like the holy grail. Some of the best sonics coming through a Neve. Well, Rupert being Rupert decided, he came up with, I'm going to design a really good, nice sounding preamp from what he knew, from what he's always known. That he created the ISA 110 preamp. And they put those in those Focusrite consoles. And they were so good, they decided to make a separate preamp by itself. It looks like the little box. It's the same circuit. So if you want the Focusrite ISA 110 sound, preamp sound, that's a well worth investment. I'm still looking to find a good deal on the ISA. I think it's the 428 channel strip. Because I want to at least get that Focusrite sound. So I want because I was looking at the AMEC stuff too. Because Rupert Neve, that's Rupert Neve design as well. So And of course, the DBX 160. That's a studio classic. But those used to be so cheap until everyone started, it blew up on the market. Now those 160s are like, they're pricey. Let me see. J Productions, what's up? Sup? So my PC is currently dying. Going to be switching to an M1 Mac. Is the 160B or 16 gigabyte suitable, or should I at least 32 gig? Let me tell you, on an M1 Mac, because they were genius with that processor. 16 gigs is probably more than enough, because there was who I saw, I can't remember the name of the channel. This guy was running a 16 gigabyte M1 Mac. It wasn't a Pro. I think it was Cheese Grater or Tower. 16 gigabyte Mac M1. He tried to run 100 different plugins against so many he had so many plugins, and the CPU usage on that Mac was only like 20%. I was blown away. That's going to be my Christmas gift, because the Mac I have right now, I have an 8-core processor, 32 gig, 2 terabyte hard drive. But guess what? It's only High Sierra, and it's only 10,13. And everything that's going newer has to be 10,15 or higher. So you need at least Monterey operating system or higher. So I'm forced to get a new Mac. So I'm definitely going to get a Mac M1 myself. So let me see. So 16 should be fine, but if you can get one with 32, the more RAM, the better. But 16 would be fine. But if you can get 32, you'll be fine. Let me see. Jay also asking, since you aren't Focusrite, AMEC, maybe Audient, all Ripper need babies. Audient, I don't think Audient is. I know AMEC and Focusrite is, but I don't think Audient is. I think Audient's their own. They are also a European company, but I think Audient's their own one. I haven't, so let me see. Life insurance. I just got an M3 Max, 6 gigabyte. It's so powerful. It's just, yeah. Like I said, Mac. That's why I said that's my Christmas gift next, is to get an M1 Mac with 32 gigs of RAM. That's what's coming. For my next Mac. I got 2 Macs, but they're dated Macs. They're both. And what sucks about this tower, this Mac that I've had, is so reliable. I have 0 issues with this Mac, and it's quiet. And it's built like a tank. Mac towers, these cheese grater towers, probably some of the best towers I've ever seen built. Compared to my PCs and looking at my Mac, these Macs are way better built than PCs, in my opinion. As far as that's just me, but let me see what else we got. Asher Poster said, try hard to break his M1 Mac. I'm going to be editing 4K video too, so that's why I'm concerning the higher RAM. This is what I've always heard, and I'm not going to, I don't think it's disputable. I've never had any issues doing music on my PCs, and video and all that. But they say if you want to do gaming, if you're into like gaming, like first person gaming, shooting, whatever gaming and all that, and internet and word processing like that, a PC is the way to go. But if you're into music production and video production and stuff like that, a Mac is the way to go. And the way my Mac, it's kind of like when my interface interacts with my Mac and all that on here. Not my interface. Well, the interface too. But the MIDI controller and the interface, everything running through it. I can see why so many people have Macs for music production. So I can, I became a Mac user probably about 5 years ago, because I was always a PC user. So I'm definitely going to not argue that Macs are probably better for that. If you're a gamer, and you get a serious high-end gaming PC, then I think you still would have no problems if you did your music on a PC. But I think a gaming PC is going to take at least a gaming PC if you really want to run your DAWs and plugins to its full potential. You need a powerful PC. So I'll tackle me because I have the M1 Pro and it's See, everyone's talking about it. I got to get one. Got to get one. And I thought this was a beast. With 32 gigs of RAM, 8-core processing and all that. I thought this was a beast. And it's got the I'll check it later. What my processor and all that is. But so Screech Stu says all the way, airborne all the way, jumpers hit it. Let me. We were talking about military stuff earlier in the chat. About enlisting and all that. So he said, are you getting rid of your Mac Tower? I still have older stuff, so I probably won't get rid of it, but I'm just definitely going to get a newer one. I'm like a hoarder. I hardly ever get rid of stuff. That's just me. Because a lot of times it just has it's like a nostalgic memorabilia thing for me. So I really don't get rid of too much stuff. Let me see. Okay, so Jay Producer said Mac isn't my given platform for gaming. It's not even crossed my mind. Yeah, I probably fixed my PC just for gaming. But man, I want to escape to the 3-hour Premiere Pro running. Yeah. It's PCs are so Takumi said it's worth it. Like I said, all I read about Macs, like I said, I became a Mac user about 5 years ago, but I've always been a PC user forever. And I can see why people have Macs. I just do. Let me see. Kern says, I use a lot of reverb for depth. 16 gigs is not enough. 64 gigs works the best for me. M2 Mac. For Windows, Lenovo ThinkPad works best. Okay. Like I said, I've been a PC. I don't use, because I'm hybrid. I don't use a ton of plugins. I use some plugins, but I don't use a lot of plugins. For that very reason, I usually come through a console and usually implement more outboard gear because it just sounds wider and bigger. Not saying you can't do this in your you definitely can do this if you set your mixer up right. You definitely get a big sound in your just in the box. But I just prefer I can distinctly hear things bigger coming through a console. Let me see. That's fun. I say I'm literally updating my old Macs right now at this moment. Tossing that 2010 Mac Mini, pushing the 2011 Mac Mini and the Mac Pro to Sonoma. Like I said, now they're requiring Monterey or higher now. You gotta have 10 comma 15 now. For everything above now. So I just got to notice when I right on Google, it says that I can't update my Google. I can't get any more Google updates because I'm running 10,13. So that's already signed. But everyone knows if you have a Mac, they update their operating system like you change your socks. It's like you turn around, they got a whole new operating system. Like, damn. Windows pretty soon everything's have to be Windows 11. Within the next couple of years, it's going to be Windows 11. They're not doing Windows 10 updates no more. So I already got a Windows 11 PC, so I'm going to have to move everything from Windows 10 to Windows 11. So it's the same thing. So Mac, let's see. Macs are more stable than a PC. Macs are more stable than a PC for music. Maybe. I'm going to say maybe because I've never had any issues. I'm a PC user for music. So it really depends on what you're doing on your PC. Macs, I would say, is more ideal for music and video. PCs are definitely better for gaming. Macs are not that great for gaming. People have a major issues gaming on a Mac. That's why more people jump to a PC for the gaming stuff. If you're into that, So let me see. If you work balance audio, even less CPUs. Oh, I never go over 20%. Let me see. I would put it like this: if you're going to do majority of everything, if you do a lot of stuff, if you plan on doing majority of everything in the box, you might want to go to Mac. But if you're like me, who does more stuff out of the box than I do in the box, you're not going to see any problems with issues with PC latency or anything like that, because it's nothing dragging the down, because I'm not using any internal processing. I'm using all external processing. So that's the big difference. But like I said, that'll be, Macs or PC, that will be debate. That'll be we'll just go back and forth with that one. Like I said, it just really. And Life Insurance, do you play games? Yes, I play some. I don't play as much as I used to. I used to be a big Tomb Raider. I used to be a big Tomb Raider. Yeah. If you play Tomb Raider, you probably know. But now I like Tomb Raider, but I also played. I used to play a lot of the older ones. Like I used to play. All my games. Another one. I'm drawing a blank on it. The shooter games. I'm drawing a blank on it. You would put a team together and they go and these are all some of the best from different military groups. I forget the name of the game. I'm drawing a blank on it. Plus, I would play car racing game and all that. So I would play games like that, but I don't play them as much as I used to. But let me see. He says, Jason, although Apple Mac has crossover now, which making the Mac gaming slightly better. Yeah, it's like I said, it's always been known that if you're trying to do more word processing, game, internet stuff, a PC's better. But if you're trying to do more, music production, video editing, like if you do Final Cut Pro, or you're trying to do, then the Mac is the way to go. So that's why it's good to have both. I got PC and Macs. So, and so, man, I don't use PC, only Macs. And that, that's a choice. I got both, because I'm on the internet with my PC. But let me see. Other than that, let me see. That's right. I see. Yeah, I'm a gamer, but I'm currently situation. I'm willing to sacrifice the gaming bit for the music production stability. And like I said, I don't want people to watch. I don't want everyone to think that if you have a PC, you're going to have all these problems with your PC if you're trying to do music. I think the only thing with PC is, one, you just got to know how to, disable a lot of stuff in your PC that don't need to be running. Like, because they are slick with that. They have stuff running, when you do up your startup menu, you go in your startup menu, you disable stuff that don't need to start up and be running in the background. I do that with all my PCs, so I have a lot more stability. So a lot of stuff that you see when I do my videos and demonstrations is on a PC. It's not on the Mac. It's on a PC. I've been doing music. Like I said, I've been doing all my music stuff for years on a PC. I only became a Mac person in just the last 5 years. So I don't want you to think that if you have a PC, you don't have a problem. If you have a problem, there's something's wrong with the computer. Let's see. He's asking about what Ghost Recon, all Seer games and space games, Leisure Suit, Larry, Police Quest, etc. I've never played Ghost Recon. I've never played Halo or nothing like that. I'm drawing a blank on it. On the games, like I would play. I used to play this game called Driver, because what is funny is Driver is cops won't mess with you until you start speeding and breaking the law, and then you're trying to run from the cops. That's funny. I used to also play, but I definitely played mostly Tomb Raider games out of all of it because I just like the levels. Tomb Raider, I would definitely play. Y'all gonna make me draw a blank because it's sitting in my tower in the other room. Like I said, I'm drawing. Plus, I play NBA Live. I would play NFL and all these on my PC. I play all these games, on my PC. He said I had to delete Grand Theft Auto. I got Grand Theft Auto 5. I got into Grand Theft Auto 5 because I don't know if y'all watched, but there was this one thing on Grand Theft Auto. They had it on YouTube. They would upload the videos. And it was a couple of YouTubers. One was called Bay Area Bugs, Polecat, and this guy named Jeff. And they would do all these crazy stuff, recording these videos. And what drew me to Grand Theft Auto was they're basically based off of it's called Liberty City, which is New York City. And then there's San Andreas, which basically a lot of that is Los Andreas, which is basically Los Angeles. They just renamed the names for copyright portions, but the way the videos would look, they look so realistic. That's what drew me into Grand Theft Auto because how realistic the games look. They look like realistic. But I'm not a big GTA gamer. He said, I remember Driver. Yeah, I used to play Driver all the time. And then you go, you got to evade the cops. You got to be smarter than the cops because they, what's funny is if you evade them, they'll stop pursuing you, but you got to know how to play that game. So let's see. I keep my computer for music and just for music. For playing around and surfing the net, I use my tablets. So let me see. The Driver was a class college game. Couldn't catch me. Yeah, I was the same way. They couldn't catch me because I would have that car doing 200 miles an hour. So I said GTA role playing is a strange thing to me. Like I said, it was called DOJ, and they were notorious. They became, out of the whole GTA role playing thing, they became the most popular in the role playing thing. But the problem with the only problem with that is some of these guys are playing cops, and they would somewhat know, some of the legal jargon that cops do, but these guys or they would try to play military, whatever, and it'd be wrong. I talked to many cops and real cops, and they they've seen the GTA games and no, that's not how we do procedures or whatever. But it's funny to watch. Kevin's asked me, do you have a top 5 favorite music YouTubers? As far as music, like the people that like on what I do for my channel, I like Produce Like a Pro, Warren Hewitt. I like Creative Sauce, because Creative Sauce will really break down DAWs for you. He's Warren Hewitt, Produce Like a Pro, and then I'm trying to think there is a few other ones. There is I'm drawing a blank on their page. Now I'm gonna have to let me go to the net. Okay, let me go to the net. Okay, let me go to YouTube net and see who's on my that I'm subscribed to. Okay. There's Warren Hewitt, Produce Like a Pro. Let me see. I like Dr. Mix. So I don't know if you heard of Dr. Mix. I like Dr. Mix. Mixed with the Masters. I definitely like theirs. Every now and then I'll listen to every now and then I'll look at Joe Gilder, his YouTube page on and see, but I scroll them all. Real Home Recording. A lot of these people I'm subscribed to. Mixed Bus TV. Every now and then, I'll look at his. Let me see who else I got. Let me see who else. And then just quite a few. Let me see. And some of these are not just that, but just like but those are pretty much the ones that I like the most. So there you go. Somebody said, "What's up with that wallpaper?" Oh, you like my girl? Yes, Karen. Let me hide my. You can't be looking at my. You can't be. Let me bring it. You can't be looking at. That's a friend of mine. You can't be looking at my friend there. Don't be looking at my friend. She comes over here from time to time. It's one of my friends. So somebody said friend. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, right. But let me see. Okay, Mars. I still remember going from Wolfenstein to Spirit to Destiny to then, Doom. Those are still Wolfenstein, Escape from Wolfenstein. So what I loved about Wolfenstein, especially the first one, if you look at, they're cheesy. The graphics are not that great today, but you open that door and it'd be some, Nazi guy, who name it, you blast them with the machine gun or whatever, and you just gotta be careful because all of a sudden the screen, if you're getting hot, the screen flash red like you're getting hit by bullets, and you gotta watch your health, and then before you know, you gotta eat dog food or whatever, bring your health food up. But yeah, Wolfenstein was my game until they brought out Doom. When they brought out Doom, you're killing those aliens, and I just like blast those aliens, with the Doom game. It's yeah. Live Show said I don't play video games, but I'm definitely playing GTA 6. Like I said, I have GTA 5. So let me see. Live Show, well, let me see. Go on. What was that? Christina Hendricks from Man? No, that's a friend of mine. So let's see. Let me see what else. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, welcome to Atlanta Television. What's going on here? Welcome to Atlanta Television. So like I said, initially the chat was supposed to be talking about recording on it, and we just got to talk about the military and games and just having a good old time. So let me see. Courtney Hawkins, Sarah, Till, this is Jayla, Dr. Mick. Oh, there's some of the channels that you watch. So it just depends on if the YouTube channel catches my. I started off with Spectra Sound Studios, but the problem, there's two things that I had with Spectra Sound Studios, because the guy is knowledgeable. The guy is really knowledgeable. The problem that I have with him is, he feels that, he got to yell, and he thinks everything is metal. I'm like, that's only one genre. He teaches how to do everything metal. I'm like, so I stopped watching this channel. There's a couple other channels y'all probably saw it. I started watching this channel, then he just complains too much for me. So those are, but every now and then, everyone, even the ones that don't watch much, sometimes they'll put out good information. So, somebody's teasing me, my friend. My friend, you have great friends. Okay. See what happens when you put yeah, she's nice looking. So that's why she's my desktop. See, the new Wolfenstein is pretty cool, especially. I bet you it's like I said, I hadn't played the newer games because I'm more focused on music production, so I don't really play games as much as I used to. Oh yeah, Jay says I don't think he knows other genres exist. And see, I have a problem with that versus like when I watch like even when I watch like Warren Hewitt. Warren Hewitt isn't always just talking about rock. Warren Hewitt talk about blues. He'll talk about jazz. But he's really informative. Plus, when Warren Hewitt does studio tours, plus Warren Hewitt has worked with top people in the business. So those are the kind of people that I watch. Every now and then I even listen to Mitch Gallagher he represents Sweetwater. Because sometimes you like everyone. I can't think of anyone that does not like Mitch Gallagher from Sweetwater. I can't think of anyone because people want people to present themselves on YouTube that way. You know, no one wants to watch an a-hole. I'm just sorry. Who wants to watch an a-hole that's condescending and talking down to his, you know, talking down to his subscribers, and no one wants to talk, you know, whatever the case. Let me see. Let me keep these chats are jumping in real quick. Okay, I'll say cool. A lot of everything. Yeah, pretty much a lot of everything, you know, because you like as much as I know, I don't know everything. Sometimes people have good ideas and better ideas on certain things that I might know, like how to use employ delays. Like I always recommend people. One of the things I learned a lot from was The Art of Mixing by David Gibson. When I watched that video, I was like, you know, he really breaks it down like, so I always recommend his, you know, he's real successful with that one. Says, do you ever watch Sonic Talk? I've never heard of Sonic Talk, so I'm at to check him out. And then of course someone says Jay says I watch Wavy Wayne and Kato for good Pro Tools content. Oh, good Pro Tools content. Okay. Warren's biggest songs are rock, but he talks about so much more than just that. Yeah, exactly. Mitch is a patron saint of music production as a like I said, it's the way Mitch, you know, it's his personality that, you know, that's who you want to talk to. It's, you know, people, you know, when people have a pleasant personality, you don't want to talk to someone who's, you know. So live shows that The Art of Mixing, David Gibson is an ass. I guess well, he said Bobby says I got the book Art of Mix. It's a good video. It really is. It says it really helped me me mixing orchestra. Atlanta Television said I like this show. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I think what I like about the, you know, yeah, the little skits in between little skits when he's explaining stuff, the little video B-roll skits that they do is cheesy. But you gotta remember that's like when he did that was like early 90s, you know. But now it's trust me, if you pay attention to, there are people that don't know how to use delays or reverbs or compressors or gates or what they're for or whatever. So you'd be amazed that The Art of Mixing will teach you that. So yeah, I was saying, I guess I was trying to get back to what I was saying, but I guess what I was trying to get back to saying was, you know, so what was separating big studio sound to doing it at home? And a lot of it is just signal chain. It's kind of like in a commercial studio, what they're going to do is they're going to take that preamp and they're going to build this sort of signal channel, you know, whatever preamp that's going to run through maybe a compressor or an EQ or a couple of compressors or whatever the case, and the mic choice they're using, and that's what they're going to be that's what they're going to record through before they record into the recording source. Most time back in the day, tape machine, today an interface into your DAW. I call it a VRS. The people probably watch my channel probably know why I call it a VRS. Record it to your VRS, virtual recording studio. But that's really what's going to give you your vocal sound. So it's kind of like, if you kind of pay attention, like, well, what is this guy doing to get a good guitar sound? If there's videos on, like, I think like Greg Wells, Grammy Award produced mixer, or you have Steve Albini. He will show you his guitar recording tricks. If you apply the same skill sets to recording your guitars or your bass or your vocals, you're going to get the same results. So, yeah, you're definitely going to get the same results. So, He said, "Hey, paratroop, yeah, jumpers hit it. 1,000, 2,000. Oh, you want to send me your personal? Yeah, compressors for my birthday. Yeah, okay. I'll tell you like this, Commodore. Let's see, because camaraderie, right? You say you want to send compressor for my birthday tomorrow. Let me tell you. I'll tell you like this. I always say when it comes to giving gear, I'll give it to you the way I got it. I had to pay for it. So that's the way I got it. I had to pay for it. So so that's why I'm laughing. So Jason, big studio sound versus at home in this era. The lines are very, very blurred. Like I said, it's such a I have to do a series on this of how to get big studio sound because you can do it. So let me see. Kevin said your platform is great. You gave a lot of detailed information on mixing console. It's like a master. I purchased a Soundcraft GBR2 and it was good. Okay, good. That's actually a good console. Soundcraft is a good company. They're most of them are semi-modular. For those that don't know, when you look at a console, modular consoles like the big large format consoles mean that the channel can come out. Semi-modulars mean that each channel has its own circuit card. The thing is, they just don't come out. You got to open the board from the bottom, but they have their own channel. And then there are what they call non-modular, which means like Mackie or Behringer boards or Yamaha, some of the older Yamaha boards, whatever. It's all on one circuit card. And so if the channel goes out, that whole circuit board, so a lot of times people just ditch those type of consoles because the cost to repair that one circuit board for a set of channel 8s, it ain't worth it. You might as well just get another board as cheap as those boards are. So, let me see. Kanay Lab, welcome Kanay. It's a Kiwab Low. Just if I butcher your name, I apologize. I don't mean to butcher anyone's name. So correct me if I mention your name. Kawablo says, would you get a Nord Wave Station 2 or Yamaha the Montage? Simply because I have a Yamaha Motif. I do have the Core Cronus, and I do have a Roland Phantom 6. But I'm a little when it comes to Yamaha, I'm a little biased. Nords, I think Nord boards, because I am a keyboard player, I think Nord boards are awesome sounding. But I'm not really big on Nords. The thing for me, and everyone knows for me, there has to be a price medium between these boards. And I think sometimes these companies go so overboard in their pricing that it becomes unattractive. That's what killed the Korg Oasis. And Korg realized you can't do that. So when Korg came out with the Cronus series, the Cronus boards were way more affordable. I think Nord boards are great sounding board. I think they're just overpriced, which is that becomes unattractive to me, especially when I'm playing, getting all these organ sounds, or I'm getting all these keyboard sounds, or all these synth sounds, or EP sounds, or all these sounds from boards like the boards I got now. It's not going to be a significant. Plus, I also am a Kurzweil user. I have Kurzweil K25. I also have a Kurzweil PC3. So I'm a Kurzweil user as well. So that's the reason why I'm more big on just the Yamaha Korg Kurzweil, and so that's why I would get the Yamaha Montage. I think the Montage it's the perfect board. Wave Station 2. I have the Wave Station, the older one, and I love the sounds in that. Just like I have the Wave Station VST. The Wave Station, that's one of my favorite. Because the sounds in them is just off the chain on that Wave Station. So I'm a big Wave Station bias. Hey, Vigilante. Hey, welcome. Vigilante, welcome. Hey. B-Day. When did you say? B-Day. Mine's is Wednesday. Happy birthday for y'all coming up. Happy birthday. I'm not a singer, so I'm not saying happy birthday. So lots of laugh facts. Let's see. Military checks be hidden. Yep. Let me see. Oscar says Steve Albini, rest in peace. Steve Albini passed? You're joking. I didn't know Steve Albini passed. Oh man, I'm just what? When did he pass? Oh, he passed this year. I did not know that. I hadn't watched him in a while. Wow. Man, we're losing everybody. I did not know that. Wow. I wonder if his studio is still open. Wow. That's crazy. I didn't know. I appreciate it. I didn't know that. Wow. Yeah, he was I used to talk about Steve Albini because when everyone was, and I'm not knocking SSL, Neve, or API, because those are great companies. I was just proving a point that when everyone would talk about consoles, they would only mention SSL, API, and Neve. I'm like, no, there's Audient, there is Helios, there's Tascam, there's Trident, and I said, and Steve Albini was a huge Neotech user. But wow, okay. Dan says, in my experience, there's one thing having the gear, others knowing how to use it. I mentioned this. That's why I mentioned. Someone mentioned in the video. I had to make a video about this. There's a difference between having gear and hearing the gear. Because if you don't know how to use the gear, you're not going to know how to hear it to know if it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. It's kind of like I can buy a compressor, but if you don't know how to hear compression, then it's going to be pointless to know how to compress something. Because a lot of people when it comes to compressors, they tend to think a compressor is a tool that makes sound, but a compressor is not necessarily a tool that makes sound. It's a tool that the way it compresses the sound is making a sound, if that makes sense. And some compressors are more pleasing to the way it compresses than others. That's the reason why they talk about low-end compressors or whatever the case. But a lot of times, it's like why the 1176 was such the holy grail of compressors, because when it's compressing, it's creating a sound to the compression, how it's compressing. And but you have to hear it and know how to know it to hear it. But it's kind of like a compressor is not really not a tone maker. It's a dynamic controller. It's a peak controller. That's why I always says gain reduction and peak reduction on these metering. You want to see how much is reducing the peaks. When you look at your waveform, you want to, when I compress something, let's say I do 4:1. When you look at after you compress the peaks on your wave you should because you're compressing. It's like you're squeezing or squashing the signal. That's but that's what compressors are. That's what compressors do. And attack and release is how fast do I want it to compress? Threshold is when do I want it to start? Things like that. But that's the thing when it comes to knowing how to hear the gear. Same thing with EQ. Because EQ, compressors, delays, and reverbs are the most abused things when it comes to processing sound. Because a lot of times people don't know what they're listening for EQ. Sometimes you're boosting 500 hertz when you should be cutting 500 hertz. You're trying to clear the sound up, not necessarily add more unwanted frequencies. Sometimes you got to take some frequencies away to clear it up so you can actually hear it. And sometimes that requires attenuating the signal. Let me see. Let's see. Thoughts on Spotify in this era. It doesn't pay well, but it helps artists get discovered and it's cheap to distribute. Here's the problem with Spotify. This, Spotify, like anything that can get you exposure. What's great about what we call the gatekeepers was record contracts to record labels. Record labels can keep artists from getting exposure because they were under contract. The internet, like my channel, a lot of y'all found my channel through YouTube. And a lot of people subscribed and start watching my channel. My nose itch. So exposure was the thing. The only how'd you get the exposure? Radio, then video. And the record labels controlled if you can get your stuff on the radio or on a video. They controlled that. If not, they would shelve you would never know about that artist. Now that you got the internet with SoundCloud, Reverb Nation, TuneCore, Soundcast, Spotify, Pandora, Google Play, Amazon Music, Spotify, that's that you could stream 1 million streams and only get $100. I think the problem with Spotify is it takes too much streaming. And this is the reason why Taylor Swift pulled a lot of her stuff out there, because you're like, I got to stream 1 billion just to get any money or whatever the case. So I think there are other avenues. I think Spotify is just an avenue, but there's so many other avenues. And a lot of these distribution companies like 1RPM and so forth, there's all these other distributions supposed to help you get some of that exposure. But now the only other issue with the music industry today, and not just Spotify, is that it's overly saturated now. It's so saturated that at least with the radio and video, you knew who Michael Jackson was. You knew who Janet Jackson was. You knew who the Rolling Stones were. You knew who LL Cool J was. And just, because that's how you got the exposure, because everyone can pinpoint on certain artists from these labels. Beyonce, you knew who Beyonce was. All those artists went through the traditional record contract way. Now that there's probably millions of independent artists they're out there that you'll never see because it's overly saturated. And like for me to know some of these artists, and because they're still not getting on, a lot of these independent artists can't get spots for the Grammys because they're only the A-list can get the Grammy spots, for even performing. So it's harder as an independent artist, even if you're on the internet. But I say one thing about it, just keep pushing to try to get as much popularity, because some people's channels, like Rick Beato, who's got 4 million subscribers, you think about it. Who knew Rick Beato, even though Rick Beato was a producer in the game, who knew Rick Beato before his YouTube channel? Who knew Warren Hewitt before his YouTube channel? You didn't. So I would say as an independent, push every possible avenue, because that's what the record labels did in their marketing departments. They pushed every possible avenue, get you in magazines, they would get you write-ups and they would try to do as much marketing as they could. Get you on the radio, you do radio spots, try to, and so forth. So, let me get on to let me see, get some more questions. So, is it going on? Hello? Yeah. Oh, it might be. Yeah, it's probably slowing down. So, yeah, it could be. Who knows? It's probably, who knows? When it start doing stuff like that, that tells me it's time to end the chat. so who knows why it's doing that? I don't know why it's doing that. So anyhow, Coablo, let me see. I'll read a few more. I got so many chats coming in. Hello from Texas. A lot of y'all tuning in. It's kind of late because it is late. So I don't, like I said, I think it's I don't know, it's maybe YouTube or whatever. So I can't keep the stream going on because it's delayed. So that sucks. So, but anyhow, I'm gonna go ahead because it's going on 2 hours. It's going on 2 hours, and like I said, now the internet's acting funny. So yeah, it's I can see it. It's acting delayed. So I want to appreciate everyone. I want to answer some more questions if y'all can deal with the delay. Let me see here. Yeah, Harrison console now. Harrison audio. Yeah, Harrison. Let me see. Someone asked me what knee is. It's like the difference between a hard attack on a compressor and a soft attack. How aggressive the attack is on your when you want to compress something. When you do the attack, you hit the knee. You want a soft knee. In other words, do you want to just attack it, but kind of not so aggressively? It's the best way I can describe that is think of someone shutting the door and then someone slamming the door. That's the best way I can describe it. You know, someone slams the door. That's a hard attack, a fast attack. Versus someone just they slows. That's the same effect of what it's going to do to the compress when it does to compress the sound. So, someone says, speaking of deaths, Chris Christopherson, really? God, no. We already lost Tito Jackson. We lost James Earl Jones. I mean, good night. Man, that's that goes to man, that's wow. So yep. So like I said, I appreciate everyone tuning in. Dan says let me go back. I missed a few. Oh, yes, that's the function of a knee compressor. It's just how hard or aggressive you want the attack to be. Do you want to be hard and aggressive? Do you want it just to be a little bit smoother? A lot of times you put stuff on a smoother attack because you still want to allow some transients and stuff to come through without being so. You go from your compression here to here. So it just depends on how you want the effect you're trying to give. So let me see. Let me see. My studio has high-end compressors, and they are amazing coloration tools. Karen says I use the 1176 to move audio from front to back, mostly to release others that I don't use it. Let me see. You said Karen said the Bluey. So I don't have a Bluey 1176. My studio has two. You are 1176 black as well. Okay, some good stuff. Let me see what else. I'm in the future music. I think is artists will be the ones make the best marketing strategy, not necessarily biggest marketing, but yeah, because the most expensive thing out of the whole music business is the cost to tour. Out of all of it, it ain't even the cost to because we can do everything with a laptop and an interface. The studio budgets aren't even expensive anymore. But the touring still hasn't changed. The cost of, the cost of tour and the live sound and the consoles that they're using, the lights and the stage and the security and the travel, that's still about the same as it always been. RJJ said, you're good. All the best, everyone. Let me see. Yeah, hit the like button, everyone. Let's see. Oh yeah, but hit the like button. appreciate that. Definitely hit the like button. Our life says we're chilling, no issues here. Like I said, on mine, it's I can see it's delayed too. It's when I'm talking. So I don't know if it's because it's processing or what the deal is. Jay says no delay for me. Okay. Yeah, life is short. We lost Rick James back in '05. That was drugs. Drugs was the killer of him. He, yeah, people saw that when he was doing, when he last few appearances when he was on the um yeah, I forgot about Frankie Beverly. We lost Frankie Beverly too. Maze. I got my Maze CD. Where's my Maze CD at? I'll just listen to the best of Maze. Um, so, but what was I was saying? I lost my train of thought. Yeah, we're losing a lot of people. Magus, my Harry Potter professor. Yeah, just that. And I hate to not sound callous, but it's the life. Like my church, we just lost one of our ministers and one of our deacons. One of the deacons the week before, and then we lost one of our reverends. One of the ministers. So it's just and like me, I lost one of my growing up best friends last year. He said, "Were you a Napster or a BearShare?" Yeah, I was a BearShare user. I still got BearShare on my old PC right here. Yeah, I was part of that. I was part of that BearShare. I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed to say it. Yeah, I was a pirater. Then I realized what I was doing. I had to stop. Yeah, I had to stop. But yeah, I was a BearShare user. I did that for about a year. Then I realized it wasn't that what. Yeah, I was killing the art. I was like, Mark, you're hurting too. I use Kazaa too, and LimeWire. So, yep. I never used. Let me see. I didn't use Napster, but I did BearShare, Kazaa, and LimeWire. So, yeah. So, shame on you, Mark. Shame on you. I say, it's so weird. Dumber actor Pat. Yeah. And then yeah, it's just life, it's kind of like, and like I said, I'll end the live stream this. It's kind of like I was watching Unsung. I don't know if y'all watching Unsung. Unsung deals with a lot of artists, and it seems like the reason why I watch the Pop the BearShare pays as much as let me see. And it was Morpheus. Okay, that was I wasn't really too hip about Morpheus. I heard about it, but I really wasn't too hip about it. The problem with Unsung. Well, I ain't gonna say this problem with Unsung. The problem with the industry and a career in the industry is I can't think of hardly any musical act that didn't suffer some sort of tragic event. We turn around, these groups are losing. Like H-Town lost their singer Dino, or High Five lost the singer Tony Thompson, or so forth. Or there was always someone getting arrested or someone killed, or Heavy D and the Boys when T from Heavy D and the Boys killed. He fell off a three-story ramp. They were playing, and he got killed. This is probably 1990. It's when you watch or you always hear how these record group or how these groups break up, over money or bad contracts or just so Unsung is sometimes it's like, that's the reality of the music industry. So RJ said, I use the Audio Galaxy.